Borkin, and this is Fox 411 Throwback Thursday. Today we're throwing back to 80s classic comedy with our next guest. Famously known as Booger from Revenge of the Nerds, and these days known as executive producer and co-host of the new TBS competition show, King of the Nerds. It's Curtis Armstrong. Curtis, welcome.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Nice to be here.
And now, as you're only on season 2 of the show, let's catch everyone up. How do things work over there on this quiz-filled show? What does it take for someone to be crowned King of the Nerds?
Well, it's a difficult thing to pin down exactly, but basically we go around the country, select 11 of the nerdiest people we can find, and put them in a house for 8 weeks, giving them challenges every week, science-related, pop culture-related challenges. One by one, they are eliminated until you wind up with the King of the Nerds.
And now tell us about some of the competitors' backgrounds. Who amazed you with their expertise or their skills or something that they did that you just didn't even know? Yeah, go ahead.
They all do. I mean, they all astonish me. These are people with minds that are beyond anything I can imagine. I mean, they've spent their whole lives to this point studying astronomy or neuroscience or chemistry or whatever it is. They also write books. They write textbooks or novels. They cosplay. They collect comic books. All the things that we associate with nerd culture, these people are into, and into in a big way. So for people like me, who you know, I'm just sort of an average nerd in some ways, I look at them and I'm dazzled.
Well, I was going to ask you, how would you do on the show? How would you do on a show like this? Do you have any expertise that would help you?
No, I have none. I have no expertise. I was definitely a nerd and remain a nerd growing up. From the standpoint that I was extremely awkward socially. I was a book nerd. I loved books. I loved music, those kinds of things. But we're talking about in the 60s, before there was an internet, before there was, gaming, that sort of thing. So, but that was me. But I was not the kind of nerd with the unbelievable brains that these people have. I would not come close to being cast on this show.
So what do you love about then running a show like this, King of the Nerds, and just showing off this knowledge, these skills?
Well, I love watching the nerds. We film them almost 24 hours a day for 8 weeks. And I'm sitting there unable to take my eyes off of them. They are so compelling and so interesting and so funny that it's one of the great joys of my life. I love getting to work in the morning, and I stay until all hours because I really can't take my eyes off them.
And guest stars, talk about who's come by this season.
Well, we've had a number of very, very cool guest stars, as we did in the first season. Last week, we had George Takei, who is one of the true nerd kings of all time, Mr. Sulu from original series Star Trek. We've had Mayim Bialik, we've had Kevin Sorbo, we've had Yahya Han, the great designer and cosplay person. We've had a lot of great ones. George was an interesting one, though, George Takei, because when we first approached him in the first season to do the show, he agreed to do the show on one condition, that we were not mocking nerds. He did not want to be a part of anything that made fun of them or made them look stupid. And we said to him, trust us, that is not the plan. And he came in, he saw the show, and he was so pleased when we came back to him for the second season. He came and actually became part of the challenge. He wasn't just a judge. And I love that about him. He really cares about these people,
Absolutely.
As do we.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, well, we've talked so much about it. I just want to show everybody a quick clip of the show. So here's King of the Nerds. Check it out.
They will compete in games of knowledge and skill.
It's a science fair. It's not a talent show.
I'm a magical girl, so I have my staff.
vying to impress the great nerd experts from around the world.
I love you guys.
But only one can claim the throne.
There's gonna be bloodshed to get to that chair.
Only one
I will systematically destroy each and every one of you.
can wear the crown.
I have mad research skills.
I am the nerd.
Only one can be king of the nerds.
An all-new competition is about to begin.
That was wacky.
And now, if you would, reminisce with us a little bit for this Throwback Thursday. To this day, let's talk Revenge of the Nerds a little bit. Do people still quote that classic film to you?
Oh my gosh, all the time, yeah. It means a lot to people, a lot more than we suspected at the time. We really were doing just a little movie, we thought, and it has become a cult favorite. And Booger, I don't know, whatever else I do with my life, that will be what I wind up being remembered for, is that character, which is actually fine. I loved the show. I loved doing it. I still love seeing those people. We got together for a 30th anniversary party in San Francisco a couple weeks ago, and you know, it was clearly one of the high points of my career.
What do you think when you catch the film, if you ever happen to see the film, catch it on TV or otherwise? What are your thoughts when you see it now?
Well, I don't usually watch it myself, you know, like long winter nights watching my old movies. But but when we were in San Francisco, they did a screening of it. We did a panel, and then they did a screening of it, and it was just so delightful to hear an audience that's basically been raised on the thing come out in pouring rain to sit there and have that communal experience of watching this movie that they loved so much. It was also, honestly, it as a comedy, it holds up terrifically well, Revenge of the Nerds. I think we really did a good job.
Yeah.
We would never have believed we would have been talking about it 30 years on, though.
Well, King of the Nerds, give us a quick tune-in for that one. Can people catch that one?
King of the Nerds is on Thursday night, 10 o'clock Eastern and Pacific on TBS. Very funny.
Curtis Armstrong, so nice talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Ashley.
And of course, thank you for joining us on this Throwback Thursday. For Fox 411, I'm Ashley Dvorkin.